everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are on episode 17 of the case study of Vanitas. And so last episode, Chloe took matters into her own hands. And seems like she's going to kill Nania. And I'm like, well, I mean, okay. That would get rid of a very large threat, although it seems like Vanitas doesn't want her to kill Nania. Instead, he wants to save Nania by using the book, but he doesn't have the book, so where does that leave us? The book is somewhere in that mansion. Meanwhile, Jean-Jacques is the beast fighting Jean. It's Jean versus Jean. Which is great. I love that Truck said on Discord that anytime I said Jean-Jacques, they think of Jean-Jacques Leroy from Yuri on Ice. And I was like, I know. I wanted to say JJ, but if I said JJ, I would start singing the song. And I don't want to do that. So I have to stick to Jean-Jacques. So it's Jean versus Jean. And now we have Astolfo versus Noe. And then Vanitas is there with Chloe and Nania. So there's just a lot going on. A lot happening. And I don't know how exactly this is going to conclude. I mean, the alteration engine in itself is a problem. I would think they need to destroy the alteration engine because it could cause some damage. But, I mean, it's great that Chloe's using it to make Nania into a physical form. Cool. As John Oliver would say, neat. But I don't know what we're going to do with that. And it seems like it's such a dangerous weapon that the people with Astolfo, as well as Machina, which we'll talk about, want their hands on. I would just get rid of it. Be like, let's just destroy the whole thing and then not worry about it anymore. But it's emblematic of her entire family's research, so she's not going to want it to get destroyed because that's been the thing keeping her there all this time. So it's clearly a complicated situation. Just saying, a complicated situation indeed. And I honestly don't know what direction we're going in. So I do have a couple comments before we start. Geen talked about how there is a translation error with Ruthven in his conversation with Chloe a few episodes back, where Ruthven was basically about to say, well, hello, little lady, and then change it to essentially grandma. So he basically insulted Chloe to her face, so that's fine. I'm very torn with Ruthven because I don't know how to feel about him. He's very mysterious. There's a part of me that feels very sympathetic to how he was, since he was very much like Noe, to how he is now. And I don't want Noe to follow in his footsteps, obviously. But he's done some pretty shady things currently that are pretty evil. So I'm like, I don't know how to feel about him. I feel like we've been given little crumbs about him, but I want to know more. We have plenty of episodes left to find those crumbs out. We just haven't gotten there yet. And then Dano mentioned that in episode 6, Machina was the host of the party that Nania showed up at. And I was like, I didn't remember that, but I guess that was a thing. He was the host of the party that Nania was at. Okay. The automatons make a lot of sense because the automatons have been there with Chloe, and there's a connection. She kept getting the letters from Machina, so maybe he gave her the automatons as well. I don't know. But then there was also... Did I mention that there was the flowers? At first they were saying in their comment that the flowers show up where there's been formula altered. And I was like, when was that mentioned? And they were like, oh, it's in episode 4. So I went back and watched episode 4 and I was like, it's not there. Episode 4, the teacher says that the Tower of Babel incident caused the appearance of vampires, caused the appearance of the Astromite, and caused the appearance of flowers. But it didn't say anything about the flowers being located where the formula has been alterated at. And they were like, oh, well, maybe it's in the manga. And I was like, so just be sure, please, before you comment, that your comment is coming from the anime and not the manga, because I don't want spoilers and my mods do not know this series. So I'm just trying to do my best to trust that you all will have done your homework and are not trying to spoil me. So please double check yourself. But so I don't know. But that makes me wonder, like, if the flowers are showing up where the formula was altered, does that mean that somebody's been there altering the formula before? Like, has Ruthven been altering the formula there? Has there been prior experiments happen? Was the flowers there because there was an alteration that caused Chloe to turn to a vampire? Was that Ruthven's doing or something else? Or was it the Tower of Babel? It just opens up a lot of theories and we don't have any answers for them. So I don't know, right? I don't know. But I do want to give a really quick shout out over to our fellow Patreons over on the philanthropy tier to thank you all so much for your kindness and support as I watch the case study of Vanitas. Thank you to everybody on Patreon and everybody on YouTube. You all are amazing, and I really appreciate the support. But I want to give a special shout out to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon to thank Edgar, Dana, Alex Cornejo, Kiri, Be Happy, Tyrone, Anime Annie, Eric, Sunspots, Translucent Men, Shimayama, Nameless Monster, Anna, Legatus, Goob, Matthew, Palfinier, and then Argent, and yeah. Thank you all so much. You guys have been amazing. I am very humbled by your support, and I can't thank you enough. So kudos, grazie, all of my love. So yeah, let's do this. I'm pretty excited. I have been wanting to see what's going to be happening with this and what we're going to get, and I'm looking forward to it. So should be a fun time. So we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to dive right in and see what happens to the case study of Vanitas, episode 17. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's do this. Well, that was a lot of chaos. Oh my God, what is happening? Oh, well, I mean, we're on episode 17, and we have, what, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, we have 7 episodes left. We still have plenty of season left. I feel like the stuff with Chloe is maybe going to get resolved in the next episode or 2. I don't feel like Chloe is the final arc. I don't. I feel like she is the lead up to the final arc, right? I feel like whatever is going to go down with Chloe and the Chaucers and everything is going to happen in the next episode and the one after it probably. And then that will give us 5 episodes to do the final act or whatever is going to go. And I feel like the final act now, I think we can kind of talk about Nania and the Blue Moon, right? I feel like we need to get into Nania and the Blue Moon because I feel like we're starting to see kind of like delineating lines of where people are at. So we have Nania, right? And we have Nania, who is the OG Red Moon Queen. She is the OG Red Moon Vampire Queen. Am I shipping her with the Blue Moon Vampire already? Yes. Yes, because we have her. I love Nania's, like, as the design of the queen. I love it. Because she looks like Sailor Galaxia from Sailor Moon. She looks like she has, like, the hair that changes color, and Sailor Galaxia from the final arc of Sailor Moon is, like, super all-powerful and everything. It's really cool. So we have Nania, who's the Blue Moon Vampire. We don't know the name, or the Red Moon. We don't know the name of the Blue Moon OG. We don't know her or theirs. Somebody said they were gender neutral. We don't know their name yet. But here's the chain of command. We know that the Blue Moon goes down here to Vanitas, right? We know we got Vanitas here as part of the Blue Moon. And maybe number 71, the brother of Vanitas. They were with the Blue Moon Vampire. They probably disappeared with them. We've got that kind of thing going on there. Then we have this weird chain of command with the OG. We have, like, Ruthven, who I keep calling Ruthvern, but in this episode the subtitle is Ruthven, and I was like, oh, I've been saying it wrong this whole time. Leave it to me to mispronounce something. And then Ruthven has seemingly passed on things to both Jean, but then it's interesting because you have Ruthven and Jean, right? And you also have kind of Luca over here, and the brother, right? And the brother is a curse bearer. But the brother has blue eyes, which is so fascinating, right? They have blue eyes. So I'm like, were they a Blue Moon Vampire tribe member that got cursed? How does that work? We've not seen that happen yet, but who knew? Who knows, right? So that's interesting. So there's a big question mark there. The other interesting thing is that with, I'm assuming, the Red Moon Vampire, we have the shapeless one. We have the shapeless one, and then their person of interest is Noe. So it's very, and then Dami. I guess we might as well put Dami in there too. What's interesting, it seems that the shapeless one, the teacher, and Ruthven are like in direct opposition of each other, even though they're both from the Red Moon Vampire. And then you have the Blue Moon Vampire. But it also seems like the shapeless one has this kind of like weird affinity towards the Blue Moon vampire, so there's that. It's kind of an interesting little triangle here that's kind of shaping up between them all. But then Ruthven has this weird, like, oath that's over here with Noe. So what do we do, right? What's interesting is we'll talk about Jean. I feel like Jean needs to be talked about down here. And then we'll talk about Chloe. We'll talk about Chloe over here and her being the jealous woman. I was really glad that came back, that line, because I was a little confused by it in the last episode, if I'm honest, because when she said she was a jealous woman, I was like, why are you jealous of Noe? He's like the least person you should be jealous of. And no, she was jealous of Nania, because Nania put her hands on Jean-Jacques and took his true name, and she was like, you don't touch what's mine. And so definitely as a shipper of Chloe and Jean-Jacques, I was really happy about that. My thing is, with the curse bearing, is that we see Nania have all these chains around her, all of these restrictions, right? All of these restrictions that are binding her to this form. So what's interesting is that with Nania, she is a curse bearer, right? She is a curse bearer herself. And there's this Malnamon, which is Nania itself as well. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that because that's interesting. But about Chloe, she's a jealous woman, but she cares for her people. She's like, which also helps to explain why she's never left. She cares about her people. That's literally all she cares about. She just wants to protect her village, and as long as nothing happens to them, she's fine. But the moment that Nania started giving her ideas of wanting to destroy the village, then Chloe was like, oh no, you came onto my home turf and threatened my people and the people that I love. No. And so I give Chloe props for trying to like protect her family and everything. That was great. And the look that she gives her when she says she's jealous it was great. The opening sequence is wonderful. And then things got bad. And then after that fact, things got really bad. So I like that the sound is not only affecting vampires, it's also affecting Astolfo and the others. And Astolfo is mad that they didn't get to the device first. So I'm still curious why Astolfo wants the device, I guess for Machina. But Machina's a vampire, right? I'm very curious why Astolfo is so geared on getting to the alteration engine. Very curious. The others showed up. Roland. I'm glad Roland and Olivier are here. They're great. Olivier's dang chainsaw man. We'll talk about Roland when we get to him. I love Roland's character so much. Such a best boy. But yeah, then Astolfo's fighting this machination, and Chloe's like trying to kill her. And then she just causes her to manifest, and he's like, don't provoke her anymore. You won't be able to kill it if she breaks free. So, like, the fact that the sound of her screaming in pain was terrifying. The sound of her screaming in pain was absolutely terrifying. I was like, oh. I was like, nope. Don't need to hear that again. That was absolutely horrifying. And the fact that she, like, I don't know what she did. We need to go back to that. Release her from her bodily form. You won't be able to kill her. And he said it, like, but then she breaks apart. And Luca and everything and everyone, all the vampires notice, right? All the vampires notice because she's the OG Red Moon vampire. So all of her kin would know as well. I love that Luca is in there seeing the brother. And the brother has the chains, like, so he can't attack. And he says, brother, what was that? And they both have, like, the little cat hairs coming out of them that make them look like a cat. And he says, what was that? And he says, calm yourself, Luca. And I love, like, he has this back corset and everything and the braid. We tried very hard to destroy her body. Huh. It seems there's still some remains scattered about. But he has the blue eyes. Why? What is going on? And he has like the chains and the cuffs. Huh. The brother is interesting. I'm like, I don't understand why the brother has the blue moon eyes and why they're like dark and like black inside and what's happening. But he said they tried to basically, I'm going to bring Nania down here, that they tried to destroy her. but pieces remain. So they couldn't destroy all of Nania's body. Okay, well that's creepy. So yeah, they were scattered about. Isn't that right, my queen? Oh my god, and she just like has the most terrifying eyes, and her lips are like all sunken in. Oh my god, and the eyes are like the most red. She looks like the sun, which is a direct contrast to how cool and moon-like the Blue Moon Vampire looks. I'm so curious. What do we do? And they're like, what the hell is this? And then she like just activates this force to like make all the vampires like bow down to her. It won't let me defy the presence before me. And then yeah, she like sucks and puts all this like black goop in her, right? Nania, Death's Keeper. Well, that's a fun name. So she's called Death's Keeper. That's no good. I don't like that name at all. Oh my gosh. And like her picking up Chloe, and she looks terrifying. What the fudge? It looks something like from Hanako-kun, honestly. If I'm being honest, the eye makes it look like Hanako-kun. The Malnomon of Queen Faustine. Okay, so Nania is the Malnomon. Okay, Nania is Death's Keeper for Queen Faustina. So Queen Faustina seems like Faust, like a deal with the devil. The first vampire of the Crimson Moon. Ah, there we go. So Nania is the curse. Okay. And he's like, Her Majesty, the Queen. Noe's like, oh, I'm glad you know even that person. I feel bad for Chloe because it seems like she's been poisoned, and it's caused her, like the poison has caused her own ability, her curse inside of her to like expand out and get crazy, right? But the alteration engine breaks, and that causes Nania to go back to its original form. So that begs the question, right? That begs the question of Nania being like, was Nania created to control or limit the power of Queen Faustina? That brings up a really important question of, did Ruthven or the others, was the curse bearers, were they originated to try and contain and limit the power? Because Faustina seems like a pretty OP character, and Chloe, or not Chloe, but Nania, even though Nania is powerful, there are some limitations, right? They don't have a bodily form. They're like a smoke, a wisp. They don't seem to have as much power as the others. So yeah, interesting. I wanted to go back real quick and look and see if we saw anything with Ruthven. Yes, we did. There was something with Ruthven saying it hurts so bad. And what was that imagery? I wanted to go back and try to pause it and see at that moment, because we see a few little images here and there that strike, right? It was so creepy. And then Chloe, is it what Chloe sees or what Nania sees? Because yeah, there's a crack and he's like, release her from her form. Okay. Don't make her remember who she really is. You won't be able to kill it. And okay, yeah. So there's Ruthven, and there is Dami's sister, what's her name? Veronica. And then there's two other people that we don't get to see, right? And this is all from Nania's perspective. So we go through her eye, and we see it break. Okay, we see it break, and we see this like heart inside of her like start to explode. And then Ruthven, and okay, oh, there's Machina. Okay, so Ruthven, Veronica, Machina, and the brother. Okay, so we have Ruthven, Machina, Veronica, and then I'm assuming the brother's involved. Oh, there's somebody with white hair there. Somebody with white hair. Who is that? Who is this white-haired person? There's somebody with white hair. Could it be number 71? They look older, so maybe it is. Their hair's covering their face, so we can't tell. And then the brother. Interesting. Interesting. But I thought number 71 wasn't a vampire. I thought they were like Vanitas. Okay. So we don't know who they are. But I'm wondering if Ruthven and Machina and Veronica and the brother of Luca, if they all tried to contain or limit the power of Queen Faustina by making her into a curse bearer. And if somehow, I mean, the only thing I can think of is if they enlisted the power of one of the Blue Moon vampires to use the Book of Vanitas to cast a curse upon her. And that's what turned her into a curse bearer to begin with. If by chance, maybe number 71 has been working with Ruthven, I think number 71's still alive, and I think that I don't know when they're going to show up. They're in the OP, but I feel like maybe they're working with Ruthven. I don't know. We've not been privy to that information yet, but it does seem like I feel a little bit bad for Nania that if that's the case and she's being like contained. But then Jean shows up, everybody else shows up, and because of Nania like French kissing Chloe and putting some black goop in her, her power goes insane. And her power of creating this time loop and time and space manipulation makes her entire, makes the realm, the universe, the pocket universe they're in kind of split apart into different sections. It felt very shonen-y. And then she said, I almost forgot. I have to seek out more names. And it's just like she goes back to what she was. For a second, she turned back to normal. And then she goes back to the parade. And is like, oh yeah, I have to seek out more names for my parade. It's creepy. It's creepy. It's like she was this queen, and now she's trying to create this court as a curse bearer. But it's like, it's all twisted and wrong. I'm so fascinated in knowing like the origins of the curse bearers, how this all came to pass. Like, how did Nania get created? What's the deal with all of this? I want to know more. And I want this series to give me answers, but we're not there yet. But we're not there yet. So then Vanitas falls off, right? And Noe goes to grab him. And when he jumps off, he goes to grab him. And as he's reaching for him, it says, you will fail. And there's suddenly this masked beast with bisexual flowers coming out of it, with the purple and red and purple and blue flowers coming out, that says you will fail. And Noe's like, excuse me? And it's just like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, why suddenly is this creature talking to Noe? And he says, you'll never reach him. And then it shows him sitting in the seat, right? With the boots and everything. No one can save him. Is that supposed to be him as a curse bearer? Is that what it's supposed to be, as a representation of him as a curse bearer? Because it has his boots on, right? Like his boots, only it's a blue coat. And there's like purple underneath. Is it supposed to be what Noe looks like as a curse bearer? What? What is this monster? I don't understand. No one can save him. All is lost. So why do you keep reaching out? So what does that mean? No one can save him. Why do you keep reaching out? Hurry up and join us. And he offers his hand. Noe's like, screw you, I'm going after Vanitas. No. So I feel like that was like a curse trying to like entice Noe. Maybe. I don't know. That was weird and creepy. But then he does go over and save Vanitas. So whoever that thing is, and the colors surrounding the void and everything looked like the same colors as the flowers with the curse bearer. So I don't know if that's supposed to be a representation of what Noe could become as a curse bearer, or what that's supposed to be, or if it's a different curse bearer, or if it's a shapeless one, or I don't think it is because it doesn't have the clock and everything. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it's creepy. Or if it's the blue moon. I don't understand. But we're going to find out, I'm sure, answers later, right? But whatever the case may be, Noe doesn't give up on Vanitas. He keeps going for him. Maybe the one in blue was number 71. We don't even know. It is a very weird moment, though. Like, why is that creature there? And then they realize that all the people there are stuck. And Nania has like caused this area, and Chloe's like her own curse bear to like go out of control, right? And so Vanitas is like, if any of these people die, it's gonna ruin Chloe's soul. It will be beyond salvation if she knows she was responsible for the death of any of her own people. Which I'm glad Vanitas is thinking about that. I'm glad he's actually considering like taking care of Chloe and making sure she doesn't go off the deep end. I'm glad that Vanitas is thinking about her. But he gets mad at Noe, and I like that Noe headbutts him and is like, why didn't you tell me all of this? Why did you know and not fill me in? And he's like, what? He's like, you knew about Chloe and about Nania. He's like, if you told me, things would have turned out differently. There's no way to know for sure, or not. So yeah, I like the idea that Vanitas, of course, has issues about trust and about being able to act on hunches and instinct. And he's like, I didn't want to tell you because you'd probably rush in and do something silly. And Vanitas has always been about, he's had trust issues and he doesn't want to tell people because he doesn't want people to get hurt. But Noe is all about, we need to communicate. We need to communicate to succeed. And he's like, if you leave me out of the loop, I can't know to help you. He's like, if you want help, you have to be communicating. And Vanitas, of course, is like, well, I don't need any help. And he's like, yes, you do. He's like, maybe we could have done something. Oh, the Vanitas is like, you wouldn't have believed me. He says, you vampires never listen to humans. I like that Vanitas, he gets triggered a lot. And that trigger goes back to the idea of vampires. Like, it's so weird because he seems like he's so in control of the situation and like vampires don't faze him. But then at random moments, it'll be triggered and he'll just go back to thinking that, he's like, oh, well, vampires were awful to me and they nearly killed me how many times? I don't know if I can trust you. Do you realize how many times I've nearly been slain by your kind? And we're talking about your queen this time. He's like, how did I know you were going to help me? Helping me would be betraying your queen. Were you ready to do that? He's like, no other vampire would have done that. And Noe's like, well, I'm not no other vampire. And he says, did you forget how Ruthven nearly did me in? You complete moron. And I love that Noe is like, I didn't forget. I know. I believe you. I love that. I love he just stares at Vanitas and makes him see that he's telling the truth. And Vanitas is like, stop it. So yeah, I like that Vanitas believes that Noe is going to betray him. I think. Has Vanitas figured out that Ruthven has bitten Noe and put him in a contract that Noe doesn't remember? I don't know. Does Vanitas maybe suspect something like that has happened? I don't know. But Vanitas believes that at some point Noe is not going to trust him and Noe is going to try to hurt him. Now, why that is, you'd think he'd know by now that Noe is not going to betray him, but if he's suspicious of Ruthven, then he can't, he doesn't want to get too close. And meanwhile, Noe is like, you can trust me, but we as the audience in the back of our mind go, yeah, Vanitas should be able to trust you, Noe, except you don't even realize that you're being controlled by another vampire who could make you attack Vanitas at any given moment. All Ruthven has to do is tell Noe to attack Vanitas, and he's going to do it. And I don't know if at the time that happens, Vanitas is going to know that he's being controlled, or if he's going to think that Noe is like every other vampire he's encountered that has betrayed him. I don't know, but it doesn't bode well. It doesn't make me happy. He's like, you make me sick. He's like, that hurts. And I love that he's just like, I hate that you want me to trust you and that you're so damn convincing. It's so cute. The image of Vanitas looking away and being aggravated is funny. And that's when they talk about Chloe's powers and the wolves being like little cursed wolves. And then Roland shows up. Roland's like this buffer being like, oh, are you guys having sexual tension? Hi. I freaking love Roland. He's great. He's maybe one of my favorite characters in this because he's such a cinnamon bean and he's so badass too. He's like, I knew we'd meet again. And I love that like Vanitas' like spider senses are tingling. He's like, oh my God, I know who it is. It's him. It's my arch nemesis. The one person worse than Noe. And it's Roland. Thank you, oh Lord. I love that Vanitas is like behind Noe like, oh God, it's him. It's him. And then all these other chosers start coming around, and he like I love that he gets him up against the wall, and he's like, Roland, I love the Noe's face when he like puts him up against the wall. I love it. He's like, I don't want you guys to get seen by the ships, the orcas. Things would go south if you're spotted. It's so freaking cute. I love that they're both like trying to just get away from him. It's adorable. It's really, really cute. Love it, love it, love it. So yeah, and then they realize there was a blizzard on the way here, and that's why we were late. And he's like, the beast must be behind all of this. And so Noe wonders if Roland's here. Everybody's here to kill this beast, thinking it's Chloe, but it's not. And I wonder if everyone arriving to attack the beast is all just a cover for, you know, not only Astolfo to come in, because they all arrived to attack the beast, right? But Astolfo doesn't seem to care about the beast. That's not what he's after. Astolfo's after the alteration engine. So it almost seems like the church, again, when Roland's talking about the church covering up something, it almost seems like Olivier and them are like a cover going after the beast, while Astolfo goes in and gets what they really want, which is the alteration engine. Him and his butler, or his companion. And so that's so interesting. And he's like, what can I do to affect a more peaceful resolution? I like that Roland's like, I want to help make things right. I love that. And then I just love his face. It's so cute. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. And then I love Olivier showing up. He's great with this damn chainsaw. And he's like, well, I'm really fond of you, Roland says. He's like, I'm really fond of you too, so of course I'll help you. He's so bright-eyed, and they're both like, oh my God. He's like, don't drag me into this. I like, Vanitas is like a damn cat that's just been poured water on when he's like, like Roland's like, I love you, let me help you. And Vanitas is like, he's such a gremlin. He's such a rat. He doesn't want to help them at all. So they convince Roland, they're like, we can't let any of the people here get harmed. Otherwise, Chloe, her soul won't find salvation and she'll be ruined. Can you help us do this? And he's like, sure, but I'm also a paladin of the Chaucers. So if I have to assassinate a vampire, I will. So as long as she doesn't do anything crazy, we're going to be fine. And I love that he gets serious. He's like, don't force me to slay the beast. And he's got like such a nice face, but it's in the shadows. Roland is such a badass. I love him though. It's great. And he's like, you two take care of only what you can do. I love that Roland automatically ships them. It's great. And then he arrives next to Olivier. And he's like, you're so uncivilized. And he's like, about that, can I ask you to do me a favor? And I love these instantly like, no. He's like, I need 30 minutes. I already said no. He's like, we can't slay all the beasts. It's almost as if the church is trying to cover up something. And I'm like, he's like, that doesn't sit well with me. I love that because I love that that's exactly what's happening. And Olivier's like, oh my God, Roland is terrifying. I love him in the shadows as he says that. And the two of them looking side to side at each other. Yes, please. I love it. And so he's like, well, those two are going to deal with the curse bearer, so it's fine. Olivier and I will destroy this abomination, and you guys protect the people. And then they work together. It's so cute. I love it. I love seeing Olivier and him in action. I love Roland being this, like, dominating cinnamon bun. He's so intimidating even when he's so sweet. Love him. He's great. Then we go back to Nania, who disappears, and we're left with all the people there, like Jean and the others. And then we find Jean, where she like, I don't know if it's supposed to be literally that she's in the tube of water or if it's like a figurative thing, like she's in this slumber, if it's figurative, right? But we go back to Jean, who is described, I'm gonna move this over here, who's basically been repurposed as this puppet, as a brochure, to hunt vampires, to basically hunt vampires and hunt traitors, like what her parents seemingly were. It's interesting. So we find out that we don't know where Jean comes from. Jean's just found by these two individuals. Like, are you all right? We don't know where Jean comes from. She just was found by these two, and they decided to raise her themselves, and then Ruthven comes and wants to teach her. So we don't exactly know what Jean is. We don't know her origins at all. Interesting. But apparently the parents were teachers, were students of Ruthven, so there's that, but the mystery of what Jean is fascinating to me. I'm like, what do we do with this? And then the two of them leave, said, Mother and Father, I'll see you again soon. And then they don't come back. Instead, their heads are put on spikes. And they're called betrayers of the vampires. Well, they were Ruthven's students, so what happened? So again, there's more questions there of the parents were Ruthven's students. He said that himself, unless he was lying. But then they betrayed the vampires. So what happened? Did they actually betray the vampires, or did they find out what Ruthven was doing and said, we don't want any part of that, and so they were labeled as traitors and framed that way? We don't know. But I hate what the monk does. Like, the monk has this sword in front of her, and I don't know if it's Ruthven or if it's somebody else, that their betrayal led to the death of our brethren in untold numbers. Well, what did they do? We don't know. That whole line, children must atone for their parents' sin, and that no longer are you a vampire, but from now on you are a burrow, not a brochure, a burrow. I hate that. I hate that they're like, well, because your parents did these awful things, you have to suffer. And my dogs are going to bark for like the rest of this discussion probably, because they're just chasing each other. So I hate that, though. I hate the idea of making it seem like it was her fault that her parents betrayed Ruthven and the other vampires. For whatever reason. We still don't know, though. That's the thing. We don't know why they betrayed them, if they were framed, what caused it. All we know is that they used Jean as a scapegoat and used it as an excuse to brainwash her into becoming like Ruthven's bodyguard and to go after Chloe. That's the awful thing. And like her eyes being black. The thing about it is, her eyes being black like that remind me a lot of Vanitas's with Moreau. When Vanitas had those eyes when Moreau was experimenting on him, it reminded me a lot of Moreau like using Vanitas. And here we have Jean being used by Ruthven and the other vampires. So I definitely feel a connection between Vanitas and Jean that way, and I feel like that's how Vanitas can reach her better too, is because they have that connection. They both have been used in the past, and they both are trying to like work through it and be their own person. And she's like, and the thing of it is, they don't want her to have any like wishes or desires, but she wants to be friends with Chloe. She wants to do her own thing. She wants to have emotions, and she's being told that she can't, and that's so awful. And I can understand why Vanitas like tries to reach her and is like, hey, you don't have to do what they tell you to do, right? You can be your own person. So after Chloe falls, we see her in the hut that she ends up with Vanitas, right? We see her in that same hut again. And we see Nania, seeming like it's Nania, standing over her. Is it Nania? It seems like it is, and her eyes are so black. But then she wakes up, and there was someone there, and it's Ruthven. And she slashed him, and he's got blood on his mouth. He bit her, and she attacked him to make him stop. And she like is like, She says, "Where's Ruthven?" And he like stares at her and says, "Do not forget the oath you just swore." So he made her swear the oath, right? And she's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, she looks terrified. Because, yeah, it's him grabbing her. And it says, "You'll enter a long slumber." And he said that you'll sleep until the war ends and all can live in peace. And use this time to heal your body and mind. And that's when they come to her saying that she's going to be a tool for them. So, I mean, was his oath to her that she would, like, rest until there was peace between the two of them and then wake up and be someone that worked for him as a burrow? Is that it? But my thing is, Nania is clearly connected to Ruthven at this point. When he bites people and they have the stuff spread through them, it looks like Nania. He's connected to the curse bearers somehow. We just don't know in what capacity and how. But he definitely attacked her and bit her to make her like swear an oath to him, and she attacked back like she didn't want to, like she was not consenting towards it. So I'm like, Ruthven, why are you being the way that you are? But I hate that she's like, I'm a puppet. I have no will of my own. And then you see Vanitas and the little blue lights saying that Chloe is not the beast. And she's like, but Chloe is a curse bearer. So I was told to end the trouble in Gavaudan. And then you see Vanitas telling her, well, that doesn't mean kill the beast. He did not tell you to kill her. And she's like, but a curse bearer. I have to destroy a curse bearer. I have no choice but to slay the beast either because it's taken so many lives. Burroughs must execute curse bearers that have lost control. It's too late now. She's beyond help. And I love that the moment that Vanitas reaches her, you see her with the long hair, and when she lifts up her head, it's her with the short hair in the present. I love it. And he says, you are never too late for help. Funny that Vanitas is telling her that when he considers himself like beyond whatever. Because Vanitas very much has that attitude of, well, it's too late for me. I'm, for whatever reason, we don't know. But he's just like, it's too late for me. I'm just the way that I am. But yet he tells her that. So there's a lot of questions with this. One, what is the deal with Faustina and Nania? How did she become Nania? Did Ruth Verne, Machina, Veronica, the person with the white hair, and the brother all work together to like make her into a curse bearer so that she could have her power limited? Can Ruth Venne control the curse bearers? Is that a thing? He seems connected to them somehow, or at least Nania seems to follow him wherever he goes. So there's that. What is the deal with Jean's parents? Why were they killed? Why did they betray the other vampires? Where did Jean come from? We don't know. And then Chloe, is she going to be okay? What about Jean-Jacques? Is he going to be okay? Is he still stuck in beast form? And then what the hell was the beast thing with the stag head that was going after Noe? What was that? What was that monstrosity? We don't even know what that was. That just popped out of nowhere and was like, hi, I'm here. And Noah's like, what are you? And the alteration engine is turned off, but are they going to be able to destroy it, or what's going to happen with that? That is the question. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait. I don't know. I want to know what happens next, damn it. But I don't know. Death's Keeper is pretty terrifying. That the Red Moon OG vampire has a Malnamon named Death's Keeper with it. Ugh. I don't know. We're entering the final act probably within the next few episodes. So I don't know how they're getting out of this scenario. How are they getting Chloe back to normal? Where are they going to find Vanitas' book? Vanitas is battling without his book. What do we do with that? And then the monster telling Noe that it's too late for Vanitas. What does that mean? I have all the questions, and I need to find all the answers in the episodes to come. So there's that. But I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with episode 18 of the case study of Vanitas. Bye!